Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy XVI. I'm your host, Starnum Lander, and it's time to continue. How's everyone doing out there? Glad to have you back. And we're back in the game here at the new hideout. Let's check it out.
Welcome back, Sid.
Finish with that log so we can call it a war.
Otto will want to know what happened in Cosnes. I expect he'll be in the mess.
So as you can see, we're out in the middle of a lake now. This lake is located out in the middle of the Deadlands. So we're still far from prying eyes. And it's built into one of the Fallen's airships. Let's go up and take a look.
Look, it's Sid.
Staying long this time? Clive, is everything all right?
Ah, there you are, Clive. Word of your adventures arrived this morning. Victor sent his thanks.
I doubt Kupka will miss the fools he sent to catch me. Not a single one of the bearers we saved showed any interest in coming with us. No one seems keen to join hands with an outlaw. Any news while we were away?
None worth mentioning. Gav's still off keeping an eye on the Republican army. Should be back any day now.
Understood. If anyone needs me, I'll be in the map room.
Still can't work that one out. There must be better places than the hull of a gutted airship to bury your nose in a book.
Yet this is where she's chosen to be. And I'm sure she has her reasons.
I learn something new, you'll be the first to know. Now off you go.
You're wondering what the new board is behind me, aren't you? All in good time, my furthest friend.
I trust I'm not intruding.
Back from your mission? I'm beginning to think your habit of surviving cannot be attributed to luck alone.
One might say the same of you, Vivian Ninetails.
I'll have you know that only 4 attempts have been made on my life, and none was especially memorable. So, to what do I owe the honor? Could it be that you've come for one of my lessons?
Is that so hard to believe?
Very well, then. Shall we start with the state of the realm? To absolutely no one's surprise, she finds herself at the mercy of armies and outlaws. Well, mostly armies. Though that's not for want of trying, is it, Clive? But the real question is, how did we get here? Long though Sambrek's dominion over northeastern Storm has endured, recent days have seen the Blight wrest ever more land from her grasp. For which reason she has continued to wage war on her rival across the strait, hoping to claim less blackened pastures. But Odin would sooner pawn his sword than Waloed relinquish Ash. And the Empire pays dearly for every blade of grass bent beneath Sambrequois boots. Little wonder then that Sylvester set his sights on the crystalline dominion, an altogether easier target, possessed of no less ether. It was 5 years ago, while you were busying yourself with the destruction of Drake's head, that the Empire made its move, subjugating its theretofore neutral neighbor. A nation which could legitimately claim to be the center of the world. Certainly, there is no better place to stage an army. From there, the Holy Empire's reach spans the Twins. The non-aggression treaty was the only thing keeping them in check. But if they truly broke the pact without provocation, it is only a matter of time before others reply in kind. The Holy Empire, the Dhalmekian Republic, the Kingdom of Waloed, and of course, our friends in Yaran. Who will be left standing, I wonder, when the last drop of blood is spilled?
You were born in Twinside. Do you not fear for your home?
Oh, dark clouds are wont to gather over the Dominion. Yet in spite of it all, she has ever endured. And when the storm has passed, I am confident she will remain. Now, as to the matter of payment for today's lesson, complete a simple errand for me and we shall consider ourselves even.
Even? Right.
Return this volume to old tomes in the shelves. Tell him it was, adequate.
I suppose it wouldn't hurt to visit our resident historian.
Gotta go talk to Tomes.
Here for another of my lectures? One would think.
My role was abundantly clear by now. I offer you and yours the guiding light of knowledge, that of matters military and political, both past and present, that it might illuminate your way ahead. For it is only by understanding what has come before that one might steer one's way towards a brighter future. Your role, meanwhile, is to ensure that I remain furnished with as much information on the state of the realm as your people can muster, in order that I might continue to appraise the dispositions of the great nations and those who rule them. And, of course, to pay attention during my lectures. It would not do to appoint the storied Ninetales as your tutor, only to disregard her expert advice. True. Ask about coming to the hideaway.
I admit.
When I took up my professor's bonnet and began teaching at the University of Canver, I did not think for a moment that I would one day count Sid the Outlaw among my pupils. But nor did I imagine that my fellow educators would have designs on my life. And we both know how that ended. Has it been a year already? Such is the peril of an overly inquisitive mind, I suppose. One is wont to uncover that which others would go to great lengths to ensure remains hidden. Were it not for you and our mutual friend having come to the rescue, my curiosity would likely have proved fatal. But instead I was not only saved, but granted a new lease of life, as personal tutor to a band of outlaws, no less.
A far more reputable fellowship.
Than anything in the academic world, I assure you. The academic world, I assure you. What about the crystalline dominion?
My beloved homeland.
The crossroads of Valisthea, where one only has to stroll the streets to hear news from every far-flung corner of the realm. Its mother crystal yields more shards than any other, and its lands even now remain untouched by the blight. It is a blessed country,
Or
indeed.
at least, it was.
Until Sanbreque elected to invade, capital upon twin sites, heretofore neutral shores. Pains me to see the land I loved so changed, and even more to know that I did not predict it. I knew that Emperor Silvestri had designs on the Dominion, but to abandon Oriflame, the seat of the Holy Empire since its inception, seemed too audacious a move even for him. Yeah, he did it because we destroyed the Mother Crystal, though, leaving Oriflame without its primary source of power. And then let's take a look at the
Allow
state
me
of the
to
realm.
educate you.
The state of the realm is by speaking to Vivian, the Hideaway's map room, in the Hideaway's map room. Clive can view the state of the realm and learn more about the current goings-on in Valisthea, revisit any of the Nine Tails' past lessons, or take a deeper look at the relationships of those individuals in Clive's orbit. The Grand Cast and the Situation Map. So, to be honest, I haven't delved into these too extensively. I like to take a look at them from time to time, but, it's kind of dense, you might say. Comprehensive grid of important persons and their respective relationships. The Grand Cast. Here, you can view a detailed visualization of character relationships in Final Fantasy XVI that updates you as you progress through the main scenario. Use L1 and R1 to cycle through pivotal milestones in Clive's adventure. Oh, okay. Wow. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot. So it starts with Rosaria marches. With the Blight pressing at Rosaria's borders and forcing ever more citizens of the duchy from their homes, Archduke Elwyn rallies his nation to take up arms against the Iron Kingdom and wrest Drake's breath from their grasp. Yet, tradition dictates that they must first march north to Phoenix Gate to perform the rite of ancestral communion. Puppy. It's got everybody on here. Everybody and everything. The Knight of Flames. Death in the Defile. The Iron Kingdom's unholy crusade is on a march once more, this time into the arid waste of Dhalmekia, where the Republic musters its main host in the depths of the Nysa Defile. Alarmed by the size and ferocity of the Ironblood horde, the Dhalmecs call on the aid of their long-standing ally Waylude. As the two sides meet each other in bloody battle, a small group of Imperial soldiers infiltrates the fray in pursuit of their own target. Cloaks and daggers. With Shiva lost and the Ironblood in disarray, Dhalmekia is no longer in need of Waylude's aid. Benedicta and her band of intelligencers do not immediately return to their homeland, however, but take a detour to Sandbreck and the village of Lostwing, staying out of sight of the Imperial legions all the while. To Kaer Norvent. Their work in Lostwing done, Benedicta and her intelligencers press on to Kaer Norvent, where they overthrow and occupy the poorly guarded Imperial outpost. There, they hold the Dominant's attendant captive, that they might capture him in turn. Garuda's Rage. Sid and Clive best the Waylooters' force, occupying Kaer Norvent. A combination of Benedicta's winds and the Dominant of Fire's flames finish the route, shaking the castle to its foundations. Cut down by Clive, Benedicta flees, only to be set upon by footpads on the road and losing what little grip remained on her powers. Battle of Belinus Tor. As the battle rages atop Belinus Tor between the legions of Sandbreck and the Royal Knights of Waylude, Odin and Bahamut clash in the skies above them. Neither side is able to take the upper hand, leading to a bloody stalemate. With the Holy Capital in disarray and reinforcements not forthcoming, it falls to Prince Dion to break it. Salvation at the King's Fall. Sid's rendezvous with Gav at the King's Fall is forestalled by the presence of Imperial soldiers in hot pursuit. It falls to Clive to save the harried scout from certain death, after which he is only too willing to share what he knows of the Dominant of Fire who fled from Kaer Norvent. The man and his attendant make for the former Duchy of Rosaria. A duchy despoiled, Clive and Jill return to Rosaria to find the lot of its bearers has plunged since Annabella became vicereine. However, in the far northern reaches, they discover a vestige of the old duchy the village of Eastpool, where bearers who fled from Rosalith upon its sacking by the Ironblood remain to this day. Their protectors unwilling to surrender them to the Imperial Constabulary. The end of Eastpool. Acting on the orders of Empress Annabella, Imperial soldiers sack Eastpool and put the villagers to the sword, all for the crime of harboring bearers without the Empire's consent. Meanwhile, in Dhalmekia, Hugo Kupka orders his men to hunt down Cid, the man he believes murdered his lost love. Onward to Oriflamme, with ever more Imperial land being lost to the Blight, the Holy Emperor and his council make plans to march on the Crystalline Dominion in pursuit of greener pastures. But as they ready their legions, Cid, Clive, and Jill plot an invasion of their own to infiltrate the holy capital of Oriflamme and redouble the Empire's woes. The Drake decapitated. Drake's head falls, plunging all of Oriflamme into panic and despair. From the ruins arise a rumor that the cracking of the Mother Crystal was the work of Cid and his outlaw band. That brings us to now, Cid II. 5 years have passed since the fall of Drake's head, and yet the legend of Cid the Outlaw lives on. Clive has adopted both his fallen friend's name and his cause, and now leads the rebuilt hideaway's efforts to liberate bearers in Cid's stead.
Study it well, Clive.
The situation map. Here you can view a detailed overview of current and past events relevant to Clive's story that updates as you progress through the main scenario. Use L1 and R1 to cycle through pivotal milestones in Clive's adventures. Rosaria marches. So it's the same descriptions, I believe. Seized by Sanbreque. As soon as word of the deaths of Rosaria's leader and dominant reaches the Iron Sands, they invade, encountering little resistance on the road to Rosalith. Not to be outdone, Sanbreque launches an invasion of its own, driving the Crusaders from the shores of Storm and incorporating the Duchy into the Empire. Okay, maybe not. Following Clive. Drafted into the Imperial Legions, Clive survived the tragedy at Phoenix Gate, only to be forcibly recruited into the Imperial Army and spirited away to Sanbreque on his mother's orders. He would not return to his homeland again for many a long year. Death in the Defile. The Iron Kingdom's unholy crusade is on the march once more, this time into the arid waste of Dhalmekia, where the Republic musters its main host in the depths of the Nysa Defile. Alarmed by the size and ferocity of the Ironblood horde, the Dhalmecs call on the aid of their long-standing ally Waylud. Yeah, so some of it's similar and some of it's not. I don't know. Infiltration of the Nysa Defile. Clive is dispatched to the Nysa Defile as a member of the Bastards, an elite Imperial assassination squadron. Together with his branded brothers in arms, he pursues the Ironblood army in order to take the head of the dominant of Shiva. However, all does not proceed as planned, and he is saved from certain death by a stranger named Cid. Caer Norvent. In pursuit of the dominant of fire, their ambitions aligning, Clive and Cid form a temporary alliance. After driving the last vestiges of the Waylud forces from Lostwing and freeing the imprisoned villagers, they follow Benedicta to Caer Norvent in pursuit of the dominant of fire. Escape from Caer Norvent. Clive defeats a semi-primed Benedicta in single combat and absorbs the ether of her icon. After he and Cid escape from the crumbling castle and send Gav on the trail of the dominant of fire, Clive hears a voice calling to him, addressing him by the name Mythos, and follows it into Garuda's vortex. Return to the hideaway. The whispering of a familiar voice compels Clive to prime into the second icon of fire, Ifrit, and put an end to Garuda's frenzy. Cid carries the unconscious Clive back to his hideaway and claps him in irons, that he might be prevented from doing himself any further harm. Salvation at King's Fall. Cid rendezvous with Gav at King's Fall, is forestalled by the presence of Imperial soldiers in hot pursuit. It falls to Clive to save the harried scout from certain death. Rendezvous with Gav. After learning that he is the dominant of fire who slew his brother, Clive longs only for oblivion. Yet Sid suggests another option, to go with him to the King's Fall, that they might learn what Gav has discovered of the other man they believe to be a dominant of fire. En route to Phoenix Gate, after bidding Sid farewell at Martha's Rest, Clive and Jill continue their journey, passing through the village of Eastpool along the way. A chance encounter with Hannah Murdoch, wife of Clive's mentor and Lord Commander, who never returned from Phoenix Gate, redoubles their resolve to journey to the ruins and uncover the truth of that fateful night. Allegiance with Sid forged. Shaken by the slaughter at Eastpool, Clive returns to the hideaway with a newfound resolve to clasp arms with Sid and see the persecution of bearers ended. The fall of Drake's Head. Clive destroys the heart at Drake's Head, but it comes at the cost of Sid's life. Rest in peace, Sid. And very nearly their own, after they all set upon by a bizarre, otherworldly being, only to be saved at the last moment by Clive's younger brother Joshua, alive after all these years. The hideaway rebuilt. Clive returns to the hideaway to find it in ruins, devastated by Hugo Kupka and his minions. He refuses to let Sid's dream die, however, and rallies the survivors behind him, eventually leading them to build a new home in the heart of Benamir. Takes Sid's name. 5 years have passed since Sid died, and Clive has taken over where his friend left off. He and Jill journey to Costness, a ramshackle refuge settlement in Dalmechia, where a local informer reports that Hugo Kupka's minions are holding a group of bearers hostage. Alright guys, there we go.
Thus ends today's lesson.
Everyone seems so happy to see us. It's good to be home.
Does that one have blood on it?
And what can I do for you? Coin purse weighing you down?
Alright, so we can buy elixirs now. You don't really do a whole lot with the gill, so I recommend you go ahead and stock up on your consumables and whatnot.
You'll not find a better price than that.
But they are kind of expensive, the elixirs at least, so just one for now. Everything else looks good. And you can sell all of your valuables, vendor trash, whatever you want to call it, by pressing the touchpad button and exchange all valuables for gil. Get about 400 for a black blood. Invictus. It's not as good as what we currently have. The flame tongue. I really like the look of the flame tongue too.
Finished, are you? Is it business or pleasure?
What do you think of that? The new hideaway?
Well, you won't hear me complaining.
It's even roomier than the old one was. Got my own stores, my own little counter, and thanks to you lot fighting the good fight, plenty of demand for me wares.
Drawback.
It's the constant bloody racket. If it's not Doris and Otto barking their orders, it's Blackthorn and Bardolph banging away day and night.
Still,
It's a pain in the ear holes, the price I have to pay to be Sid the Outlaw's partner in crime. Say I've got myself a bargain. Suppose so. So how's it been over the last 5 years? Has it really been 5 years since we left the old place? Huh, how time
I
flies.
remember it like it was yesterday.
We were all waiting to treat Sid to a hero's welcome when Kupka's lot turned up. Not that we knew it was them. They just poured in like a plague of rats, cutting down anyone and anything that stood in their way. Blood and bodies everywhere there was, and a voice crying out for Sid to save us in the midst of it all. I'll never forget those cries, try as I might.
You're our leader now, Clive.
Promise me you won't let anything like that happen again. Promise me that come what may, Sid will save us. I'll do my best, Karen. Take care.
Time out to get yourself killed, eh?
Clive, you're back. You didn't happen to run out of potions while you're away, did you? We've a fine selection of tonics and tinctures. Oh, perhaps you'd be interested in some new gear.
Accoutrement? No, I'm good, Goods. Thanks. Already got my potions from Karen. Let's see what Blackthorn has for me.
Back, are you? What's something for you, dear?
Levin Bolt. By taking and upgrading the Flame Tongue with a Lightning Shard and 2 Meteorites. When we'll gather the Levin Bolt.
Not bad, if I do say so myself.
Item equipped.
Anything else?
Let's take a look. Hey man, what's up? I'm trying to look at my sword here. Do you mind? Sheesh. Yeah, pretty cool looking though. Alright, what else you got for me, Blackthorn?
What do you need?
I don't know. What do you think of the new hideaway?
Things here ain't too bad.
Suppose. Got a decent hammer, a decent anvil, an apprentice who knows his hammer from his cock. Oh, and the furnace is alright and all, thanks to old Sid's bellows. The gods only knows how I'd keep the coals hot enough out here on Mir without them. Not with bloody crystals, that's for sure. Mir is short for Binamir of the Lake. Nah. I reckon you won't find a forge like this one anywhere else in the Twins. I count myself lucky to work it. Thanks for keeping me on, Sid. You need anything, you give us a shout. Appreciate that. How's it been over the last 5 years?
You've forgotten already, because I haven't.
It's a right pain in the arse getting this place into shape, especially with the mess we're in. Not that it was anything new for those of us who put the old hideaway together.
Still.
That don't mean I don't intend on doing it again. Yeah, I hear you.
Seeing you.
Take it easy, Blackthorn.
If you told me you could fire a forge without a crystal or a bearer before I came here, I would have taken you for a madman. But no, here it is.
The secret's in the bellows, you know.
They're Master Sid's own design. The other Master Sid.
Yep, the man was a genius. So, in this world, you know, everyone has grown accustomed to using crystals for magic. So, out here in the wastelands, Sid and the outlaws have had to learn how to do things, as we here in our world say, the old-fashioned way, with just, you know, science, I guess. Alright, got the art stone here. No, not training, but I always like to flip through the arcade mode and the stage replay, because you can always go replay those boss fights or those story segments again if you want, which is really cool. But we're good on that for now. We've got the orchestrion over here.
Any more knuckle pies?
Oh, sadly not. Molly used the last of the chocobo in the stew.
You do, you would eat a chocobo. It's basically a giant bird if you needed to, you know, if you're starving or whatever. It's a little bit different than eating a horse, maybe, I don't know. You can ride a cow, eat a cow, I don't know. I don't think people like to do it. It's a last resort. Maybe it is kind of like eating a horse. Let's put things on our terms. at the library.
Oh, Tome said the hideaway is built inside an airship. Said it was called the Invincible.
The Invincible. That's a name for an airship. I think it was it Final Fantasy IX that had the Invincible?
Norseman Harpocrates.
Now that is a name I have not heard for a long time. So long, in fact, I had half forgotten it was mine. Welcome home, Clive. You were missed, as always.
I believe this belongs to you. Vivian asked me to return it.
On Gods and Men, a heavy leather-bound tome containing the findings of an examiner of Canver, a renowned theologian who spent most of his life chronicling Valistia's diverse religious history.
Ready? Our resident scholar devours books faster than young Tet does lemon tarts. Would that I could do the same, but alas, I no longer possess the necessary constitution for such indulgence, either in words or tarts. That said, I have continued my search for mention of the creature you encountered at Drake's Head, but without access to the great libraries of Oriflamme or the Dominion, I regret that I have been able to find little and less. I am sorry.
Please, don't apologize. I'll send word to our associates. See if they can't furnish you with more books.
I fear it is not more books that I require, but the right ones. Mayhap we look in the wrong places. There are still libraries to the north.
I'll see what I can do.
You are too kind. There are not many in this world who would indulge the whims of a tired old historian.
Not too tired to go filching Kupo nuts, though. Always got a pocket for him. Nicks him off the Moogle.
Hush now. We all know there's no such thing as Moogles.
That's pretty funny considering there's one right outside.
Seem well.
Aye. Yet they laugh far too little for one so young. The loss of their parents weighs heavy on them, however well they hide it. Titan took much from us that night, from some more than others, and the wounds that remain, they are not quick to heal.
Which is why we must give them all the time they need.
That we must. Just as I must give you the time you need to recuperate. Good day, Clive.
Good day.
Oh
I'll
no.
be back soon.
No worries, my good
I should
man.
get some rest while I can.
We have need to look over the tomes before we leave, good Hippocrates, as it were.
Is there something I might assist you with, Clive?
Before we dig into these old words, let me ask you, have a few with you myself. What do you think of the hideaway?
Look around you.
While it is a far cry from the Imperial Library in Oriflamme, in 5 short years we have amassed more volumes than most men or women might hope to see in their lifetime. No longer are the tales they contain hidden away from all but the privileged. We have liberated them that they may fill the minds of all who hunger for knowledge. There is much more out there, and as long as I draw breath, I shall continue to gather what I can.
Why?
One day, a chronicle of your own adventures might even grace these shelves, or failing that, the floor. I like it. Tomes has got a bit of sense of humor, huh? How's it been over the last 5 years?
It has been difficult, certainly.
When Titan visited his wrath upon us on that dreadful night, we lost much. He robbed us not only of our home and our loved ones, but of that which Cid fought fiercest to preserve, our hope. Hope that we might never have found again had you not taken his name and become our light in the darkness.
Had you not led us here?
To Binamir and the Invincible, where among the ghosts of the fallen, our journey can continue. Here in the belly of a leviathan untouched by the passing of 1,000 years, does our hope burn brighter than ever, and here might it burn for 1,000 more. And the twins, the children, Tet and Crow.
I still remember.
The day I first met Tet and Crow, chasing their father about the hideaway one moment and clinging to their mother's kirtle the next. Kirtle? Never heard that one. The twins' love for their parents was something to behold, so fierce and pure. When they passed, I feared the void they left in the children's lives could never be filled. Neither spoke nor smiled for years, hiding themselves away here in the shelves to bury their sorrows in the leaves of these tomes.
And thank goodness they did.
For I believe the stories proved a welcome distraction, as over time their pain faded. Now they laugh and frolic as they once did, if not with more vigor. They remind us that no matter how deep in our wounds, we all have the capacity to heal. How deep our wounds. Gotta get in your feelings sometimes, man. And that happiness is lost. That happiness lost may be found again. I agree, Holmes. Alright, let's get into these leaves, as you call them.
I don't believe you've read this particular chapter before.
Level 3, Extant Encyclopedia.
Fascinating excerpt I've been meaning to show you.
The Continental Accord. Alright guys, it's that time again. Time for the lore. The Continental Accord. An international pact made at the dawn of the present era in which such matters as the treatment of bearers and the establishment of a realm-wide currency were laid out. It formed the basis of much of Valestian society as it stands today, including the branding of bearers and their status as non-persons. It also put in place a universal calendar, making a symbolic fresh start for mankind, albeit one which put magic users at a crippling disadvantage. The founder. Fear and uncertainty resigned in those early years following the sins of Zemeckis, not wanting to further incur the wrath of the heavens. The few who survived the fall took to wandering the land, spurning magic and staying to the shadows, and so they lived for decades. One man, however, grew tired of this life, if it could be called that, and after bidding his companions farewell, climbed a grassy knoll overlooking a forest of beech and alder. Here, he gathered a pile of rubble and used it to build a humble shelter in which he spent the night. The next morning, however, instead of abandoning his work, as was his people's wont, he gathered more rocks, adding to the structure until the shelter had become a shack. This he continued for days, weeks, until the shack had become a home. At first, those few wanderers who passed the knoll would shun him, cursing the man under their breaths for his hubris. But as his estate grew, and one building became two, and two, three, the people began to slow their steps, and it was not long before some took to joining him on that knoll, gathering stones, building new lives, new destinies. This they did without magics or machines, without boon or blessing. They relied on naught but their hands, their backs, their wills, and each other. And slowly house gave way to village, village to town, and town to nation. The man would one day die, as all men do. But those who remained continued his legacy, expanded upon it, and though his name was eventually forgotten, his spirit lives on to this day in the hearts of all Rosarians. Legend of the Founder by Moss the Chronicler.
What subject shall we consider today?
Sid the Outlaw, leader of the faction, believed responsible for the shattering at Drake's Head in 873. With this single act of infamy, Sid's name quickly spread to the four corners of Valisthea and beyond. The Hideaway, established under the leadership of Clive Rosfeld, who took on the title of Sid after his former leader's passing. and Titan's destruction of the old hideaway, here a community of like-minded individuals from across the realm has gathered to build a place where people can live and die on their own terms. Like its predecessor, it is built within fallen ruins deep within the deadlands of Central Storm. Decidedly unlike its predecessor, however, it is located in the center of Lake Benamir, across whose waters any invading enemy can easily be spotted long before their arrival. Smart. Introducing Vivian Ninetails, a scholar and strategist who makes her home in the hideaway, analyzing every shred of information that comes in from the wider world in order to divine the depositions, I don't know why I keep wanting to say depositions, the dispositions of the realm's armies and those who lead them. She offers her insight to Clive that he might better understand the lay of the land. The moniker Ninetails, of which she herself is fond, was gifted to her by her fellow scholars in recognition of her ability to speak at length on almost any subject. Nice. Victor, friend of Sid's and later Clive's, who keeps an ever-attentive vigil on the comings and goings in Dalmekia from his hometown in Cosnus, a town located in the rugged northern reaches of the Dalmekian Republic. Though it was once a thriving trading post, the coming of the Blight has served to both discourage travelers as well as drive off longtime residents. All that now remain are refugees fleeing from elsewhere, the black marketeers who prey upon them, and barely enough soldiers to keep the peace, or rather to pretend to, when they're not being bribed to look the other way, that is. The fall of the hideaway. Oh no, Gav, his eye. An assault by Hugo Kupka, dominant of Titan, and his private guard on the first hideaway of Cid the Outlaw in the year 873. The safe haven, established amongst forgotten ruins long consumed by the Blight, was entirely destroyed, and many of Cid's collaborators and the bearers that they had freed from servitude were slain. Thankfully, some remain, however. Persons of interest. Clive Rosfeld. After Cid fell and his hideaway was reduced to rubble at the hands of Hugo Kupka, Clive took on both his predecessor's name and role, becoming the second Cid the Outlaw and leader of the re-established resistance. Together with the other survivors and their new recruits, he continues Cid's mission to emancipate bears and rid the realm of the Mother Crystals. Joshua Rosfield. Dominant of the Phoenix and former heir to the ducal throne, Joshua was thought to have died at the hands of the second Icon of Fire during the disaster at Phoenix Gate. However, come on guys, he's the Phoenix. However, he is very much still alive, traveling the realm even now, his true identity hidden by a heavy cowl, and the assumed name that of Lord Margrace. Jill Warwick. Dominant of Shiva and trusted confidant of Clive, leader of the new hideaway. Together they continue Cid's mission to emancipate bears and rid the realm of the Mother Crystals. Looks like I'm getting a little bit of lightning outside, guys. Hopefully we don't drop the stream, but if it does happen, there may be weather outside. We'll see how that goes. Alright, Torgal. Clive's faithful friend. He is fiercely protective of him and his allies, loath as he is to lose his best friend again. He never strays far from Clive's side, putting the hunting skills Cid taught him to use in fending off foes and picking up trails. Sidolphus Telamon, leader of the hideaway and dominant of Rama, warden of Thunder. His plan to create a world where bearers and dominants could die on their own terms meant destroying the Mother Crystals, an act of blasphemy that would see him forever denounced as an outlaw. It was during their mission to fell Drake's head in 873 that Sidolphus Telamon lost his life to a beast from the beyond, passing the title Cid the Outlaw on to his protege, Clive. Hugo Kupka, permanent economic advisor to the Dalmekian Parliament and dominant of Titan. He has little love for his country, taking advantage of his position to benefit himself and himself alone. After learning that Cid the Outlaw, the man who slew the love of his life, Benedicta Harmon, still lives, he tasks his personal guard with capturing and torturing bearers in order to draw out his nemesis and take his revenge. Dion Lesage. firstborn son and loyal subject of Emperor Silvestri, ruler of the Holy Empire of Sambrek, as well as leader of the Empire's most elite fighting force, the Dragoons. Dion is also the dominant of Bahamut, Warden of Light, and has oft been called upon to summon his icon in defense of his countrymen, most recently in the year of the Realm 873, when Odin took to the field against them in the Battle of Belinus Tor. Otto. Chief Steward of Clive's Hideaway, Otto continues to serve the same role he did under Cid, being the primary person in charge of all monies and information coming into and going out of the Hideaway. Karen, one of Cid's most trusted allies. After Cid's hideaway was laid waste to by Hugo Kupka and his minions, she and her hard-working yet long-suffering apprentice Goots followed Clive to the new hideaway in Binamir, where they served him in the same capacity they served his predecessor, sourcing whatever supplies her fellow residents are in need of. Goots. Apprentice to Karen, an ally of the hideaway. After Cid's hideaway was reduced to rubble at the hands of Hugo Kupka, he followed his Nan in joining Clive at their new home on the lake. He has keen interest in smithing and spends what little spare time he has granted heating and hammering metal, just as Blackthorn has showed him. Blackthorn, resident blacksmith of Clive's hideaway, where he keeps the new Cid the Outlaw and his allies well outfitted with arms and armor. Though he's usually a sullen and secretive sort, his knowledge he is happy to share with Goots, who has long been eager to learn the art of smithing. Harpocrates II, Hyborius. Hyborios? The hideaway's resident historian, after Cid's death and the destruction of his home, he joined Clive at the new hideaway, establishing a grand library within the walls of the fallen ruin, from whence he continues to share his knowledge with any who will listen. He has taken the orphan twins Tet and Crow as his apprentices, though they have yet to prove the most attentive audience. Goat, Otto's loyal lackey, tasked not only with keeping the ledgers, but with reading and sorting the myriad reports that enter the hideaway and arranging assistance for those in need. Born a bear, Goat was kept a slave to an Oriflamme tavern, whose keeper would beat him bloody. After being thrown out onto the city streets as punishment for a minor mistake, it was his fortune to be found by Otto, who took him back to the hideaway. Obolos, an old friend to Otto's from his merchant seaman days, now serving as ferryman between the shores of Binamir and Clive's hideaway. Knowing him to be a trustworthy and tight-lipped fellow, Otto invited him to join their cause after Cid's death, and he and his trusty skiff might help them build and operate their new hideaway in the lake. Kenneth, chief cook at Cid's hideaway, who lost his life on the night of Hugo Kupka's attack. He was a well-loved both for his ever-genial nature and the toothsome fare he concocted from the limited ingredients available in their Deadland home. Indeed, many of Kenneth's dishes remain on the menu in Clive's new hideaway. Tet, one of a pair of young twins who assist Harpocrates in the hideaway library, or at least are tasked to. In practice, he spends most of his time reading books and teasing tomes with his sister Crow. Though their parents were both bearers, Tet was spared that burden. Alas, he was not spared the tragedy of losing both his mother and father when Cid's hideaway was laid low. Same thing for Crow. In practice, she spends most of her time reading books and teasing tomes with her brother Tet, born a bear like her parents, spared the prejudice and persecution that they were forced to suffer, but was not spared the tragic loss of her parents. She hangs out in the hideaway's library. Isabel, proprietress of the Vale, Northreach's foremost house of ill repute, and one of Cid's trusted collaborators. Isabel is much admired by the populace for her elegance and refinement, qualities that have earned her the title the Dame. Sylvestre Lesage, Emperor of the Holy Empire of Sanbreque, who won his throne at least partially by virtue of his son Dion, having awakened as the dominant of Bahamut. The High Cardinal, first and foremost of the 5 cardinals who make up the Council of Elders, kind of looks like somebody. Second only to the Holy Emperor in the imperial government. Excuse me. Second only to the Holy Emperor in the imperial government, it is his role to lead the council in governing Sanbreque in the Emperor's stead, and providing the latter does not overrule his decisions, his authority is absolute. Really? Alright, the Mysterious Watcher, scion of a lesser noble family of Dalmatia, tasked by Hugo Kupka to trace the whereabouts of Cid the Outlaw, the man he believes slew Benedicta Harmon. His investigations lead him to Eastpool, where he overhears Clive and Gav's conversations and follows them back to Sid's hideaway. Back to Sid's hideaway. To, the Sid's hideaway. Sorry, guys. Medicine Girl, an orphan girl who pays for her bread by making and selling medicines. Okay, I guess that's relevant. Ultima. An otherworldly being that Clive encountered in the inner sanctum of Drake's Head. He addressed Clive as Mythos before attempting to merge their consciousnesses. However, Clive was able to summon the will to resist the creature before Joshua returned from the dead to imprison it in a cage of flame that he sealed away in his own heart. The love of a brother. Lay of the Land, Valisthea, a realm comprising the twin continents of storm and ash, over which the mother crystals stand timeless vigil. Timeless, that is, until Cid and his disciples commence their campaign to bring each one, starting with Drake's Head, crashing down, spreading chaos and confusion throughout the great cities and nations of Valisthea. Cid's Hideaway, a hidden refuge built on the fallen ruins of the blighted lands of Central Storm. Here, Cid and his adopted family of freed bears from across the Twins made their home. That is, until the fledgling utopia was brought crashing down after its location was discovered by Hugo Kupka, dominant of Titan, in the year 873. In but a single night, the hideaway was destroyed, fewer than half managing to escape the slaughter visited upon them by Kupka and his men. Benamir, a lake in the Blighted Lands on the southern edge of the former Grand Duchy of Rosaria, named for the dragon that some tales say created the basin when it fell from the sky. Fallen airships dot its expansive waters like forgotten cenotaphs, leading some to liken it to a graveyard. Its remote location, far from any trade route and deep inside the Deadlands, made it an obvious choice for Clive when faced with rebuilding Cid's legacy. That's good. Alright. The Holy Empire of Sanbreque, a nation occupying the northeastern reaches of the continent of Storm. After suffering the ignominy of losing Drake's Head to an audacious assault by the outlaw Cid in 873, the Empire set its sights on the mother crystal of its nearest neighbor, the Crystalline Dominion. Sanbreque's legions duly stormed the historically neutral territory and installed the imperial capital at Twinside. This brazen act of conquest sent shockwaves across Valisthea and heightened the already considerable tensions between the Empire and the Dalmatian Republic. Oriflamme, former capital of the Holy Empire of Sanbreque, after its mother crystal was destroyed in an attack by Cid the Outlaw in the year 873, the decision was made to move the throne and her armies south to the Crystalline Dominion, regardless of whether or not the Dominion's citizens approved. Oriflamme has since fallen gradually into decline, having lost the mother's blessing and all the benefits it brought. White Worm Castle, the towering citadel from which the Holy Emperor of Sanbreque rules over the entirety of his dements. I don't know. With the mother crystal rising above it, and the imperial capital of Oriflamme spread out below. This ivory edifice is truly a wonder to behold. Drake's Head. Don't look like that no more. The mother crystal upon whose wings did Sanbreque ascend to geopolitical supremacy. It towered over the holy capital of Oriflamme, its mighty silhouette a testament to the power and permanence of the empire. And then in the year 873 it fell at the hand of Cid the Outlaw, and crumbled to nothingness like all empires do. The fall of Drake's Head. In the year of 873, Cid the Outlaw, along with certain of his allies, infiltrated the Sanbreque capital of Oriflamme, bringing down its mother crystal in a daring and unprecedented attack. Investigations after the fact concluded that the infiltrators took advantage of the disturbance caused by an ether flood to gain entry into the Empire's holy sanctum. In the aftermath of the incident, Cid was declared a wanted man, and the faction he led a criminal enterprise to be hounded across Valisthea. The Council of Elders, advisors to the Holy Emperor of Sanbreque, and the highest body of government in the Empire. The Council consists of 5 cardinals of the Gregorian Church who are intended to rule in the Emperor's stead. The Emperor, meanwhile, is expected to serve as a constitutional monarch, but there is little to prevent one who wishes to impose their will upon the Council from playing a more autocratic role. The 5 cardinals, the senior statesmen that make up the highest office of government in Sanbreque after the Emperor himself, the Council of Elders. The Council is comprised of the High Cardinal, representative of Central Sanbreque and the Holy Capital of Oriflamme, and the 4 cardinals who administer the outer provinces, the northern, southern, eastern, and western seas. Seas with 2 E's. Always thought that was interesting. Northreach. When Sanbreque moved its capital to the Crystalline Dominion, Northreach went from being a vital gateway to the seat of the Empire to a forgotten country backwater in a matter of moons. And with the fall of Drake's Head, the ether was soon leached from the lands around it, leaving the fields fallow and the once thriving environs barren and lifeless. The Vale, Northreach's premier house of companionship, while it is frequented mainly by Sanbreque's nobility and military, Lady Isabella welcomes all with desire, and the coin to partake of the pleasures of her skilled courtesans and courtiers offer. Hey, they got men too. That's cool. Few establishments in the Empire are as well loved or as oft visited. The Moor, a farming village located in the rye fields of the Royal Meadows not far from Sanbreque's capital of Oriflamme. Her residents harbor a strong hatred for bears, more even than elsewhere in the Empire, making it a very dangerous place to visit for those who bear the brand. Glorish. A key strategic point in central Sanbreque, its location just south of Oriflamme makes it a vital first line of defense against any assault on the Holy Capital. The road from Northreach to Caer Norvent and beyond to the Crystal Belt bisects the area, ensuring a constant traffic of Sanbreque soldiers and traveling merchants. The Dragon's Eyrie, a gently sloping plain stretching east from the Sanbreque checkpoint of Northreach. As the name implies, it is heavily populated with all manner of wild worms, and as such, the lands remain relatively unspoiled by mankind. The Breadbasket, a region overlooking the Strait of Altha in the eastern part of Sanbreque. The bounty provided by its rich soil fed the Empire for generations until the ever-encroaching blight intervened, displacing thousands in the process, a disturbance which played no small part in the troubles that were later to engulf the imperial capital. The Dalmatian Republic, a nation formed from a federation of 5 smaller states. It is located in the southern half of the continent of Storm and has its capital at Rondalla, also home to the mother crystal known as Drake's Fang, inside which stands Castle Dazbog, home of Hugo Kupka, dominant of Titan. Kupka, obsessed with finding Cid and exacting his revenge for the murder of Benedicta Harmon, co-opted the soldiers of the realm and had them commit a series of atrocities in an attempt to flush him out of hiding. Horrible. Alright, the Men of the Rock, Hugo Kupka's personal guard. On Kupka's orders, they ruthlessly gutted and destroyed Cid's original hideaway, vengeance for the brutal beheading of Benedicta Harmon. But Kupka's thirst for revenge is not yet slaked, and it is with reckless abandon that he employs his minions to commit atrocities across the realm in a bid to drive Cid from hiding. The Kingdom of Waylude. The sole surviving nation in Ash, Waylude has its capital at Stoner, home to the Mother Crystal of Drakespine. It is ruled over by Barnabas Thommer, dominant of Odin and warden of darkness, who has long harbored ambitions to extend his reach into the neighboring continent of Storm. Somewhat surprisingly, the Sandbreck Empire's incursion into the Crystalline Dominion prompted no immediate response from the king, who appears to be biding time and considering his next move. The Crystalline Dominion, a once independent state straddling the continents of Storm and Ash. Its capital, Twinside, is built on the tiny Isle of Ark, from which its mother crystal, Drake's Tail, rises. After Drake's Head was destroyed in 873, the Holy Empire of Sandbreck declared Twinside its new capital in defiance of the long-standing non-aggression treaty. While controversial, the move carried out by Prince Dion and his Knights Dragoon proceeded mostly unopposed, largely due to the Dominion's lack of a dominant of its own with which to intimidate the interlopers. Yes. The Non-Aggression Treaty, a pact in which was codified the agreement between nations to refrain from invading the Crystalline Dominion and laying claim to its mother crystal Drake's Tail. It both cemented the Dominion's position at the center of the world's politics and placed checks on the ability of key players to exploit that position. Don't seem like that held out too well. The Strait of Altha is the narrow channel to the north of the Crystalline Dominion that separates the continents of Storm and Ash, with Sandbreck to the west and Waylude to the east, and the Dominion to the south. Its shores are never short of soldiers or political tensions. The Gregorian Church. It's like we already know some of this stuff, but they just keep expounding on it and elaborating. And I know it's dense, but got to get through it. We're almost there. The state religion of the Holy Empire of Sandbreck, whose followers worship the goddess Grieger as the one true deity. At the church's head stands the Holy Emperor, voted into office by his fellow cardinals and supposedly their equal, though this is a widely recognized to be a convenient fiction. The followers of Grieger worship dragons as sacred servants of their goddess, and since the founding days of the Empire have both doted and depended upon them. Mysteries of the Realm. The Mother Crystals. Though the people of Valisthea rely on the crystal mines from the mountains in their everyday lives and flock to the ether-rich lands around them in pursuit of their blessing, Cid posits that it is in fact the mother crystals and their ability to draw ether from the earth that is the reason for the Deadlands' advance. The few who learn the truth are hunted down by those in positions of power, those whose powers rest on their control of this crucial resource. Heart of the Mother Crystal, the brightly shining convolution of crystal shards that sits at the center of each Mother Crystal. When a heart shatters, so too does the mountain around it. Since time immemorial, sanctuaries have been built around the hearts for the worship and protection of these irreplaceable treasures. The inner sanctum, sacred chambers in which the hearts of the mother crystals are enshrined, believed to have been created before the time of the fallen. They retain a portentous air even now, long after mankind has forgotten their significance. Crystal, one of the most valuable materials known to mankind, thanks to its ability to channel ambient ether from the air, allowing those without an innate power to do so to cast magics, and as most Valistheans cannot live without magic, its supply and distribution is heavily regulated by governments across the Twins. Though the penalties for illicit trade in crystal are severe, with demand far outstripping supply, many still dabble in the black market. Ethereal tolerance, the ability to resist the effects of ethereal exposure. This higher in bearers than dominance, allowing them to survive concentrations of ether that would turn any human who lacks their gift, turn them into a monster, as in. Some animals, including chocobos, also have a natural resistance to the effects of ether, but one of the many reasons why the birds are so it's one of the reasons why the birds are so beloved across the twins. Ether floods, pools of concentrated ether that form on the land's surface, thought to be caused by an imbalance in its diffusion beneath. Though ether is usually invisible at flood level concentrations, it takes on a blue glow. At flood level concentrations, it takes on a blue glow. Those with a natural ethereal tolerance can survive exposure to a flood, at least for a short time, but most living things will eventually succumb to its effects, losing their minds and turning akashic, which is like an ether zombie. Magicked barriers. Some dominants have the ability to call upon a part of their icon's power to summon a ward, a nigh impervious barrier that no magic nor matter can cross. However, its maintenance requires a continuous channeling of ether through the summoner's flesh, taking a heavy toll upon them. The larger the barrier, the greater the burden. Priming. The act of a dominant transforming their living flesh into that of their icon. Priming does not require a continual draw on the ether. It is rather maintained by the constant channeling of the vast quantities of ether imbued within the dominant's own body. This allows dominants to remain primed even when they enter the etherless deadlands, but also results in the crystal's curse taking a heavy toll on them with every act of priming. Slave masters. I mean, come on. You know what a slave master is. Pretty fucking obvious. Airships. Legend has it that the people of the fallen once sailed through the skies in the bellies of these ships. Though all now lie shattered and silent on the surface below, the men and women of the present day are wont to repurpose these ruins for their own uses. Both the village of Lostwing and Clive's hideaway in Benamir being built around the wreckage of a fallen airship. Akashic. The irreversible change brought about by a living being's overexposure to ether. Creatures are stripped of any intelligence or sense of self they may once have had, and become suffused with life force, usually manifesting as extreme strength and aggression. Flora can also turn, resulting in their twisted overgrowth. Those with ethereal tolerance, however, such as dominants and bearers, are less likely to turn Akashic. Beasts. Oh my god, what are beasts? Animals whose evolution has been wrapped by exposure to ether. Some gaining the ability to cast magics. I mean, monsters? Shouldn't these be called monsters? Whatever. Unlike bearers, however, they seem to have developed little ethereal tolerance. So it is not uncommon to encounter Akashic beasts in the vicinity of ether floods. While beasts are sometimes tamed by humans for use in warfare, the soldiers of Sandbreck having a particular fondness for those descendants of ancient dragons. I mean, yeah, makes sense. Mythos, the name by which Ultima addresses Clive. It appears to be his title for the vessel for limitless power that he means to make of the young Lord Marquis. But to what end he requires such a thing, only Ultima knows. The vessel, a name that being known as Ultima gives to Clive, it appears to be synonymous with mythos. Almost there, guys. Rama, the Warden of Thunder, whose power most lately awakened within Sodalphus Telamon. Dominants of the icon most often emerge among descendants of the Motes of Thunder, a tribe who once dwelled in the lands of Central Ash, lands that the kingdom of Waylude now claim, mayhap in part due to the tribe's comparatively advanced learning, Rama is associated with the wisdom and judgment to this day. Typhon, seemingly drawn to the destruction of the heart of Drake's Head, Ultima emerged from a tear in reality, wearing the skin of Typhon, a weathered and wizened colossus, and drew Clive into a space between worlds wherein the ethereal entity might test his worth as a vessel. Panthers, archetypal predators known best by their brilliant spotted coats and a proclivity to lives of solitude. As is the case within most felines, the animals are severely strong-willed, and efforts by the Republican Army to harness their inborn speed and ferocity for use on the battlefield has been met with varying degrees of success. Alright guys, I think that's it for the lore.
Did you learn everything you needed?
Thanks for sitting through it. Alright, so I'm going to take a short break. That was quite a lot of reading. And then, if there's still anyone watching, we'll keep it up with the story.
Not back a blink and you're already off solving everyone's problems.
Alright guys, I'll be right back.
It looks good, Clive. Goes well with the scowl.
I'd had that brand for so long. I'd forgotten what life was like without it. What it was like to be myself. And it's all thanks to you, Talia.
The scalpel did most of the work. Ah, before I forget, a rider was here with a letter from Gav. Otto left it on your desk.
Otto stole us. All right, I'll have a look.
And then you get some rest.
Alright guys, we're back.
Of a letter.
Have you been to the toll? I hear a new shipment's just...
Otto was here earlier with a letter from Gav. He left it on your desk.
The reading table. Reports, letters, and other important missives addressed to Clive are delivered to the reading table in these chambers. New messages are always arriving. To make it a point to check the reading desk upon returning to the hideaway. Make it a point. The Republican army marches on the Empire at Twinside, and the men of the Rock have been summoned to the front. Something big is brewing, I reckon. I'll see you're done to where upon my return? Yeah, Gav.
What does Gav have to say?
The Republican army is on the march, leaving Randalar in Hugo Kupka's charge. With him and his men occupied with the defense of the capital, they're less likely to trouble us.
Good news, then.
It's more than that. This is our chance, the one we've been waiting for.
But look how far we've come. All that we have here, our friends, the hideaway, are they not cause for joy?
5 years. 5 long years. If I could only command this power I've been granted, we might have achieved so much more. But each time I reach for it, it's like something is holding me back.
Summoning an icon exacts a price not easily paid. Your body knows this only too well. It's merely trying to save you from yourself.
And every burden I cannot bear falls to you.
This mission of ours has made me question everything I thought I knew. But one thing has become abundantly clear. The crystals take more than they give. In exchange for momentary comfort, we must endure a lifetime of pain, war after war, loss upon loss. And now? Now they rob us of our very homes, leaving naught but dust and ash. But you're trying to change that. We're trying to change that. And to me, that's no burden.
I know, but...
Try not to forget. We're only here because Joshua gave us a second chance. It would be a pity to waste such a precious gift.
He did. He was there. It wasn't an illusion. I heard him call out to Ultima. If Joshua is still alive, he'll be looking for that thing.
Do you think he will ever come back?
I know he will. And we must be ready when he does. To a world without mother crystals. To Sid.
and so the North is lost.
I knew that the Blight spread ever more swiftly, Your Grace. But this is far, far worse than any could have imagined.
It is only a matter of time before the twins are no more. The world marches ever closer to its end, and here we chase shadows. Tell me, brother, are our efforts in vain?
Master Clive, a moment, if you... my apologies, I didn't mean to... intrude.
Not at all. We were just discussing strategy.
Speak freely, Otto.
It's Martha, from the inn. She's gone missing. Anyway, I'll be in the mess when you've finished.
Very well. What would make Martha leave the rest?
If something has happened to Martha, we need to speak with Otto.
The Wall of Memories. The Oath. Created the day Clive pledged his alliance to Cid, this crystal shard transfixed with the twin daggers is a powerful reminder of a promise made, a friendship forged, and a legacy inherited. Alright, let's go see what Otto needs. Something about Martha's missing from the rest? We gotta go check that out.
What do we know, Otto?
Some lads from the Imperial garrison in Rosaria started a fight over at Martha's Rest. Blood was spilled, bones were broken. The usual. But somewhere in the middle of it all, Martha vanished without a word to anyone. And that ain't like her, Clive. Something's not right.
You think this was planned?
Course it bloody was. Ever since Eastpool, the Empire's been tightening its grip round the Duchy's balls. They've strung up everyone who's ever set eyes on a runaway, claiming they're traitors to the Holy Throne, conspiring to restore the House of Rosfield to power. And now it sounds like the bastards have turned their attentions to the pallbearers meek enough to stay put. Naturally, old Martha could see the way the wind was blowing, complained that it was getting harder and harder to take bearers in.
And now she's missing. If she's fallen into the hands of the Empire, we could be next.
Couple of curse breakers are already on their way to the inn. They should help speed up the search. But if this is as bad as I think it is, you might end up having to save their asses and all.
Don't worry, Otto. I'll make sure everyone gets home safe.
It's not that I don't trust Cole to do his bit, you understand? It's that I don't trust the Empire to show any of us any mercy if we get in their way.
Martha is a survivor. We'll find her.
Why does Vivian already have something else to tell me? I just spoke to you for like 15 minutes, just like 5 minutes ago.
Ah, my favorite pupil.
Yes.
Allow me to educate you. Study
Because
well, Clive.
so the thing that just happened, is that what we're talking about? To Martha's aid. Yes. Clive and Jill return to the hideaway only to learn that another crisis is unfolding in Rosaria. fighting has broken out at Martha's Rest, and in the confusion, Martha has disappeared. The two set out to the Imperial Province to investigate. Yep, that's literally what we were just saying. Yes, let's go do that. Okay. Find the curse breakers. Oh, before we leave, though, it looks like there's a side quest over there. Let's go see what that's about.
Finish with that log.
Welcome back, Sid.
Damn blighted bilge.
Is everything all right?
Aside from the holes in my hull, everything's roses.
The lake water doesn't agree with it, then?
That's one way of putting it. And unless you got some grand scheme to suck the black from the lake like we do in the atrium, that slurry'll keep eating away at the timber like young Tet does our lemon tarts. Suppose a coat of pitch might stave off the rot for a moon or so, assuming we had any pitch, which we don't. Not any bloody more. Doubt the old tub's got more than a dozen runs left in him.
Of course, Obolus. Your skiff is our only means of reaching the mainland. Without it, we'd be lost.
Well, I'm glad someone round here sees it that way. To make pitch, you need pitch trees. But in case you haven't noticed, live trees are one of the 1,000 things sorely lacking in the Deadlands. Now, I'm not so unkind as to ask you to fell a faraway forest and lug the logs back here to the mere, which is why we'll be needing a suitable alternative. And it just so happens I once heard the thorny pitchers of Curltail Falls cover themselves in a sticky wax to trap birds and beetles and whatnot. Might be enough to tide me over.
Sounds easier than felling a faraway forest. That's for certain.
Whoa, big drop. Okay, let's go over here and grab these for Orbolos before we go to the next main
Easier
mission.
than felling a forest, I said. The trees don't have teeth.
Stay down!
Love this one because you can dang near take out an entire group of enemies with that one. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezed. And got a pitcher wax. A sticky substance found in the pitcher of a carnivorous plant which thrives in the Rosarian lowlands. I guess because it's got that like picture-shaped bell kind of, yeah, thing on it, the plant thing. So it's got some goo in it.
Time to
All
head
right.
home.
I got a bunch of plant goo. We're good. Let's go. It was kind of on the way, so that was convenient.
What happened here?
Come on. We need to find the others.
Let's get you to a physical, shall we?
I'm sorry. Oh, I think I twisted something.
Sid? What said you'd be coming?
I trust you don't mind. Also thought you might need some help. And it appears he was right.
You, could say that, yes. They're saying the Imperials ascended like a storm. No one was spared their fury. Martha tried to step in and calm things down, but all our efforts got her were a pair of iron shackles and a hard march.
Any idea where?
Judging by their tracks, they headed towards Sorrowwise Bay.
To the Abbey, sheltering Martha's bearers.
The bastards. Jill and I will go after them. You take care of the people here.
We will. But, before you go, one of the locals heard something. He said the soldiers were talking about a culling. I don't know how big this is, but it doesn't sound good. Be careful out there, Sid.
You do the same.
Cole is right. That was no tavern brawl. It was a message.
But a culling. Bearers are the property of the Empire. The garrison wouldn't have the authority to act alone. The orders would have had to have come from higher up.
What are you after? Take care out there, eh?
Oi, look sharp!
Look. Up ahead. Martha, are you hurt?
Don't worry about me. It's them at the Abbey who need you. You have to do something.
Tell us what happened.
What happened? When the sick rose from their beds. Poor souls turned on the Imperials. Distracted them long enough for me to get away.
Then they may still be alive. Martha, do you think you can make it back to the inn? Cole is there with the other curse breakers.
I think so. Thank you, Clive.
Black shields. Is this some sort of twisted joke? There has only ever been one Order of Shields in Rosaria, and they fought to defend all her citizens.
Seems a step too far, even for the Empire.
I don't know. I just kind of feel like Clive and the party would probably not be worried about a bunch of wasps and spiders when something so serious was going on.
Are we too late?
There might still be someone inside.
No.
Damn it.
I thought you lot were all spent.
Murderers. They drove the bearers to this.
Wait. These two aren't turned.
That bitch of an innkeeper must have sent them. Colluding with the enemies of the Empire is a serious offence.
And for their crimes shall they be punished. Such is the law. To dwell in darkness that we may purge the night and welcome lasting dawn. On these our swords we swear.
How dare you speak those words? Have you no honor?
Clive.
This won't take long. Stay down! It's over.
I think they pissed Clive off.
Is that all of them?
I think so.
The breath of wind, residual wind ether that, having failed to dissipate on the battlefield, has instead manifested into a solid form not unlike crystal, but with an elemental purity that renders it far more potent, if not highly specialized in its application. It reduces the gouge cooldown time by 3 seconds, which, I guess it's not really that. I mean, I don't really use it.
I didn't see the abbot. He may still be alive.
Found her.
The abbot.
The bearers died protecting him. Calling upon what little magic they had left in their bodies.
Clive. He's breathing.
We're friends of Martha. We're here to help.
Are the Imperials dead?
They are. Every last one.
If only that were true. The Black Shields will return. The cuttings will continue. Rosaria will never be saved unless we save her. Tell Mother to beg Sid's aid and tell her this wasn't her fault.
I shall.
Sid! Where are you? Sid!
In here! We found a survivor!
Clive. He's gone.
We've laid the abbot to rest. But the bearers... they didn't need to die like this.
No, they didn't. But it was their choice. They knew the fate that awaited them and chose to meet it on their terms, fighting for those who fought for them.
Martha said they rose from their beds, threw themselves at the Imperials so she and the abbot could escape.
I've gathered the bearers' remains. We should consign them to the tide.
There's a drawbridge not far from here. Radix jump. The currents there are swift. If the abbot was still with us, he'd have taken the dust there himself and performed the casting. I'll get someone to...
I'll do it.
Of course. Cole and I will remain here and see to the Imperials.
Oh yeah, I think we got a little hunt here that pops up on the way. This guy is kind of tricky, so bear with me. Only a C rank though, I think I can do it. Like, you could probably take him when you first encounter him. If you've got a grasp on the system, you'd probably be alright. This is a notorious mark. Every now and then, Clive may encounter creatures larger, faster, and more ferocious than most. While flight is always an option, defeating a notorious mark can earn him not only renown, but also rare materials that may be used to craft new gear or upgrade existing items.
Do you think it's spotted us, Torgal? What am I saying? Of course it has. It's a floating eyeball. Nice try.
Too slow. Nice try. To me, Flames!
Sorry guys, you really gotta kind of open mouth this battle. It's pretty difficult. It's kind of tricky, rather. A lot of dodging, as you've seen. These teleports, a lot of projectiles. But just stay on the move. Find your openings. And it's as simple as that. That's one dead eyeball. Alright, let's get these ashes to where they need to go.
That must be the bridge. So shall the waters cleanse thee of thy burden, and bear it out to sea.
And now they are truly free.
I hope so. What of the Imperials?
A pyre was made. It's more than they deserve. We should go back. Cole is worried about Martha.
All right.
We're best off staying where we are for now, I reckon. The boys from the garrison might still be nearby.
No one survived then?
I'm sorry. Before he passed, one of them bade me tell you not to blame yourself.
Doesn't mean I won't. Doesn't mean their blood's not on my hands. Cole said you cast their remains. That was good of you. But it should have been me. This was all my fault.
How? You couldn't have known.
But I did. And I turned a deaf ear to the warnings like the fool I am. The rumours started moons ago. Of black-clad devils descending on villages in the dead of night to slit the throats of sleeping bearers. But I assumed it was all just nonsense concocted by the Empire. Nothing but a ghost story meant to make folk think twice about lending a hand to a fugitive bearer.
And in ordinary times you would have been right. What these Black Shields are doing is unthinkable. Which begs the question, why do it at all? My mother obviously has a hand in this. I cannot make sense of her actions.
And picking what goes on in that woman's head is a job for someone with more time on their hands. Right now, I need swords and men to wield them, preferably big ones. If those Imperials think they can come in here again and threaten my people, they're in for a rude awakening. Oh, before I forget, a Stolas from Otto landed just before you arrived. He asked me to tell you that Gav has returned.
Then we must as well. Will you be all right here, Martha?
We can stay longer if you wish.
No need. I'll be ready should the Imperials come calling. Though I wouldn't turn my nose up if you were to lend me a pair of them strapping young curse breakers. Those poor souls died to give me a chance to save others. I won't let their sacrifice be in vain.
Arthur's a stout soul, all right. Anyone else would be out cold after what she's been through.
If you don't mind, Sid, I'd like to stay here with Martha. Just until she finds someone to guard the rest, that is.
Not a problem.
We'll return to the hideaway as soon as we've finished our ministrations.
Try not to move. You'll only make it worse. I know.
Oi, you there! Don't just pass me by. You handy with that sword of yours? Course you are. Bet you're a bloody marvel with the thing. Now, question is, are you willing to use it or not? 'Cause a flock of noble chocobos are in need of help.
Chocobos?
You heard me right. Wild birds? The big ones? And not just any chocobos at that. Whiteheart and her flock are the bravest birds you ever did see. They protect travellers round these parts from bandits and the like.
Chocobos? Fighting bandits?
It's true. Why, they saved me from a gang of footpads only yesterday. Nasty lot they were too. And now, they're back, looking to settle the score. Well, go on then. Don't just stand there. Go and help them.
All right.
There's a good lad.
Where can I find these chocobos?
I saw him cut across the way over yonder. The rotten scoundrels were driving the poor things towards the old dock. It's a dead end, that is. You save Whiteheart and her flock, you hear me? There ain't a pluckier bird in all the world. She's a hero to us locals. And don't worry, you'll know her when you see her right enough.
I'm sure I will.
And good luck to you. And give those no-good bastards a hiding from me.
Whiteheart. That's quite a name for a chocobo. A white feather. I thought Ambrosia was one of a kind. Speaking of brave birds, looks like they went that way. These chocobos aren't going down without a fight.
We got you cornered, Feathers. You didn't think you'd seen the last of us, did you? You've been bad for business. But I reckon someone will pay good coin to mount your head on their wall.
Not around here, they won't.
Oh. And why's that, eh?
Because she's something of a hero in these parts. You hurt her, and I hurt you.
Piss off. Or better still, how about we hurt you both?
All right, then. But don't say I didn't warn you.
Nice try. Over here!
Goodness, that blood curdling. He made it the end there. Crazy.
You're safe now. White Hart, I presume. Do you know her, boy? That scar. It couldn't be.
Or could it be?
Ambrosia.
Still alive. Reunited again.
It is you.
After all these years.
And you found yourself a flock.
Oi! Is it over? I thought I'd come and see how you were getting on. Oh, well, you sorted the bastards then. I knew you would. And the whole flock made it through unscathed.
Thankfully, they did. And not only that.
Well, I'll be. I never stopped to think our hero here might once have been someone's mount. Though I dare say she'd suit a fine fellow like yourself. Reckon our feathered friend must have learned a thing or two from her master. Kind-hearted warrior that you are. Bird like her would have cost a princely sum. You born a lord or something?
Well,
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean to pry. Don't matter who you are. You done right by me.
What is it, girl?
She wants her master back, I reckon. Told you. And it seems her pals agree.
Is that it? You want to come with me?
Well, bugger me if this ain't a heartwarming sight. The lads down the stables will be hearing about this tonight. Oh, stay right where you are.
Oh, look at that. The tack and saddle. Oh, she's got the eye patch and everything. Ambrosia. The trusty mount.
Doesn't she cut an handsome figure, eh?
Aye, she does.
Indeed. How much do I owe you?
Ah, a few scraps of leather's the very least I owe old White Hart. Oh, I'll be sad to see her go, of course. But she's earned her right to happiness and more besides. Don't you worry, we'll get along just fine without her. You hear that, White Hart? You've earned yourself some time off. You have fun traveling with your master now. You seem awful familiar now I get a proper look at you. That's it. When those chocobos swarmed my cart on the road, didn't you? No, that can't be right. That fellow was a bearer.
Must have been my double.
Oh, must have been, eh?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We helped this guy
Excitement getting to me.
5 years ago.
Pay me no mind.
He doesn't recognize us because we had the brand removed.
Good luck to the both of you.
Or maybe he does and he's just playing along.
You take care of your flock for now. I'll call you when I need you.
Aren't they cute? Yeah, that's awesome. And that, guys, is why you do the side quests. Imagine missing out on getting Ambrosia back and not having your mount. Alright, level up. Level 25. Got Ambrosia's tack. A bespoke saddle and blinders worn by Clive's childhood chocobo, Ambrosia. Quack! You can mount up. After 18 long years, Clive has finally been reunited with his faithful steed. Hold R3 in the field to summon Ambrosia. Press X to mount the chocobo.
Let's go. Now, where's Gav?
Gav should be back by now.
Finish with that, logs.
Well, did you find me some wax?
Find is one way of putting it.
Ugh! Reeks like a chocobo's arse. Well, I don't suppose the Argo will mind as long as he stays above the waves.
Argo? So your boat has a name? I didn't know.
Yeah. Same as me old man. He was a ferryman himself back before the Blight came. The boat's all I have left of him. And thanks to you, he'll sail another day.
The Badge of Might +1. Awarded to soldiers for unparalleled displays of courage on the field of battle. The feeling of accomplishment it enkindles in the recipient's heart is thought to enhance future performance. Increases attack by 12. Alright, let's take a quick look at our abilities and equipment. Ooh, am I not using that? That's crazy. Yeah, let's strap that up. The residual fire ether that, having failed to dissipate on the battlefield, has instead manifested in solid form, not unlike crystal. So basically the same description as the other thing. Reduces flames of rebirth cooldown time by 12 seconds, though. That is a good one. I can't believe I didn't have that equipped. Favor of the wind and will of fire. I think that'll do for now. And then take a quick look. Alright, let's see. How much do I need? I need 2,300 points for Judgment Bolt. So I will probably go ahead and save up for that. Although we can also still unlock a third limit break bar. And we've got upgrades on Aerial Blast and Flames of Rebirth. I think for now we'll go ahead and save up. I want to get Judgment Bolt. It's a pretty good one.
Ah, Clive! How I've missed that scowl.
Where's my report?
What, no kind words for your old pal Gav?
If it's kind words you're after, you're fishing in the wrong barrel. Now sit down, you fool.
So, you remember how quick the Empire was to occupy the Dominion after the fall of Drake's head? And how pissed off all the other nations were that they didn't think to do it first?
Half a century of independence gone at the whim of a madman. So much for their bloody treaty.
Clearly, the promise of unblighted land and the world's supply of crystals was too much for his radiance to resist. And now the Republic's finally decided to follow suit, using liberation as an excuse to declare war on Sambrek. Lined up right outside the Dominion's gates as we speak, looking to starve the Imperials into submission.
And now all eyes are on the Strait of Author.
Well, the two nations beat their shields. The rest sharpen their daggers, ready to set upon the war-weary victor. They'll never see us coming. It's time we moved on the Mother Crystals. Four Mother Crystals remain in Storm and Ash. Drake's Breath, near Ironhome. Drake's Fang, in Dhalmekia. Drake's Spine, in Waloed. And Drake's Tail, here in the Crystalline Dominion.
With the bulk of the Republican army marching to Twinside, Drake's Fang will be left exposed.
That is exactly the move Kupka would anticipate. And if there is anything these past 5 years have taught us, is that he loves his traps. There is one place, however, where nobody will be expecting us to go.
Drake's Breath.
There's a shitload of sea between us and it, and I've never been much of a swimmer.
I have an acquaintance in Port Isolde who may be able to help.
Who's that then?
My uncle, Byron Rosfield.
Lord Byron Rosfield of the Seven High Houses, the trade magnate with holdings in over 100 cities. Wait, Rosfield. And you're a Rosfield, of course.
My uncle's name gave him his start in the world, but it was his acumen which earned him his fortune. Along with a handsome fleet of ships.
Well, it's settled then. What are we waiting for, eh? Huh?
Otto's counter is now open. New facilities. The following hideaway facilities are now available. The Ailent reports, the Patron's Whisper, and the Hunt Board.
What are we waiting for, indeed?
All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. I know it was a lore-heavy opening on this one, but that just means that there probably won't be much to get to on the next one. So we got through. I knew we had a big bulk of lore that was coming up in this episode, but we got through it, so there probably won't be much in the next episode. And yeah, we can just keep going and get right back to the action next time. Granted, we will have the Ailent board, or the Ailent counter and the Hunt board to go over and everything as well. So we'll probably be doing a lot of side missions and whatnot, and then we'll get into some main story at the end of the next episode. Here you can see the Moogle. He has the Hunt board. And over here is the Ailent's counter. Basically, Ailents are people that need help. So side missions. And then the Patron's Whisper is the rewards.
Doesn't sound like anywhere is safe.
That you get. And if we look at our map, we got all these dots. We'll hit those up, grab our side quest, and just go from there. But yeah, basically a lot of establishing the hideaway, getting through the lore. We did get Ambrosia, our mount, back, and we helped Martha and the people at the rest. So that's good. We got a lot of that taken care of, and we can really just dig into the meat of it next time. So thanks again for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.